Hello and welcome to the Cardboard Dungeons X-Wing ship reviews. My name is Pat, and we are dipping our toes in the shallow end of Wave 8 by looking at the Inquisitor's TIE Fighter. Now, when I say shallow end, I don't mean this is a bad expansion, I just mean that it's the most content-light expansion in Wave 8. Wave 8 is incredibly content-rich. There's a bunch of new rules, a bunch of new mechanics, a bunch of expansions that just have a ton of cards. But not this one. This is pretty lightweight, although there's a fair amount of stuff, and there's some neat stuff here. We are looking at the TIE Advanced Prototype, a brand new TIE fighter. This is from, of course, the Rebels cartoon show. Wave 8 is bringing us both the main protagonist ship, the Ghost, as well as the main antagonist from Season 1, the Sith Grand Inquisitor. Now, he's no longer around on the show, but they've replaced him with a couple of new ones. But they all fly this ship. This is a prototype of the TIE Advanced. Neat looking little ship. It's obviously a TIE fighter. Sort of looks like a TIE Advanced. The curvature of the wings aren't quite as severe as the standard TIE Advanced. And it's got the black panels on the inside, which is kind of neat. The outside of the panels they look pretty armored up. So it looks like maybe it's a little sturdier TIE fighter, but that's not really the case, as we'll see when we look at the stats. But first, let's look at the maneuver dial for this ship, which is absolutely amazing. Now look at this, you can see that this ship has every standard maneuver available in the game, except for the Speed 1 straight, which is pretty typical for TIEs. They're fast moving, they can't slow down that much. But the big deal here is the green Speed 1 turn. I don't think we've seen that before, I might be wrong, not going to look through every single ship right now. Don't recall seeing a green Speed 1 turn. Also got the green Speed 1 banks, and Speed 2, 3, and 4 straights are green. And then it's got a K-turn at Speed 4, pretty typical for a small ship like this. But very cool maneuver dial. Now let's jump into the stats for the TIE Advanced Prototype. This is an A-Wing, basically. This is the Imperial's A-Wing, stat-wise. Attack value of 2, agility value of 3, 2 hull, and 2 shields. Exactly the same as the A-Wing, and pretty typical for a TIE fighter. A little bit less than the standard TIE Advanced, but it's got shields, that's respectable. Now onto the action bar, we have target lock, focus, we have a barrel roll, and we have boost. No evade on this, little surprising, but we're going to see there is a way for the ship to get evade tokens. And now down to the upgrade bar. Nothing on this bar except for a single missile slot. Alright, that's not a big deal. Lots of TIE fighters, especially the more nimble ones that are just meant for dogfighting, they're not loaded with upgrades. Missiles are good though. The regular TIE Advance has a missile slot, so the prototype, obviously, should follow or precede, I suppose, being a prototype. The top pilot for the Inquisitor's TIE Fighter is, of course, the Inquisitor. Surprise, surprise. This guy's got a pilot skill of 8, cost of 25 points. He can take an elite upgrade. His ability says, when attacking with your primary weapon at ranges 2 or 3, treat the range of the attack as range 1. So this guy gets around the low attack value of 2 that hinders almost every TIE fighter in the game. With the wording of this ability, I don't know why they just didn't put you treat your attack value as 3. That's what it does. Your attack value is 3 no matter what range you're shooting from with this guy, right? Because at range 1, you attack 3. They did it, of course, so that at range 1 you couldn't attack with 4 dice, but he's going to roll 3 attack dice no matter where he's attacking from, so that's neat. It's also a way to get around the rule that this ship cannot use the TIE Advanced title that came out recently. For the old TIE Advanced titles, in order to be used, have to match the wording of the ship's title exactly, and since this doesn't even have the word Advanced in its title, it's just TIE, they shortened Advanced, ADV period, prototype, cannot use the TIE Advanced prototype, or the TIE Advanced title that came with the gunboat, or gunship, a while back. But it's got its own title, so we're going to see that in a little bit, and its own title is pretty cool. And the Inquisitor rolls 3 dice, so very cool. 25 points, seems costed pretty well. I like this guy a lot. Moving on to Valen Rudor. Pilot skill of 6, can take an elite upgrade, and 22-point cost. After defending, you may perform a free action. Very cool ability. You can use it multiple times during a round. Just says after he defends, so if he gets shot at by several enemy ships, he's taking an action. A free action every time, if able. Now, of course, restrictions to using actions, like if he has stress, he can't do that. So keep this guy stress-free, I guess, during the combat phase so that he can make use of his ability. But it's a neat ability, and I like it. And it also has synergy with the title we'll be seeing shortly. All right, now on to the non-unique pilots. We have Baron of the Empire. Pilot skill of 4, costs 19 points. He can take an elite upgrade. And we have Sinar Test Pilot. Pilot skill of 2, 16-point cost. No elite upgrade on this guy. But for the dial and the stats and the actions that this ship can take, pretty neat. And you can throw the title on it too. 16 points, nice. Might see this one in play in some lists. So overall, a very nice group of pilots for the TIE Advanced prototype. Now let's get into the upgrades. There's a couple that we've seen before, starting with Deadeye, an elite upgrade. We've seen this in the A-Wing expansion, so it's been a while, Wave 2, since we've seen this one. Deadeye costs 1 point, and it says, you may treat the attack target lock header as attack focus. When an attack instructs you to spend a target lock, you may spend a focus token instead. Okay, this doesn't get seen a whole lot. Maybe we'll see it a little more. They're really pushing to try to get missiles and torpedoes back into play. We're about to see yet another upgrade in this expansion that goes toward making those more desirable. Seems like kind of an odd elite upgrade to include with this ship. This is a Arc Dodger type of a ship along the lines of the TIE Interceptor, the TIE Advanced, the A-Wing, but there it is, Deadeye. We've seen it before. We've also seen homing missiles, a 5-point secondary weapon missile upgrade. We've seen this in a ton of places. I'm not going to list all the expansions that this upgrade has come with. It's like 4 or 5 previous expansions, including the recent Imperial Assault Cruiser upgrade. So we've seen this a lot and recently. It's a target lock attack. Discard this card to perform the attack. It's a 4-dice attack, ranges 2 or 3. The defender cannot spend evade tokens during this attack. So pretty nice hard-hitting missile. Doesn't spend your target lock, very important. You need a target lock, but you don't have to spend it. Alright, now into the new stuff. There are two brand new upgrades, and then there's a title for this ship only. First up, we have, this is one of the big ones, lots of talk around this, the XX-23S Thread Tracers. It is a missile upgrade, costing 1 point. Has the attack focus header, so you have to have a focus token to use it. Rolls 3 attack dice at ranges 1 to 3. You discard the card to perform the attack. If the attack hits, each friendly ship at range 1 or 2 of you may acquire a target lock on the defender. Then cancel all dice results. Now, first of all, it's important to note the wording here. Each friendly ship at range 1 to 2 of you includes yourself. It doesn't say each other friendly ship at range 1 to 2. And your own ship is friendly to yourself. So unless they've changed that in an FAQ and I haven't seen it, that means that when you use thread tracers, you get a target lock as well as every other friendly ship at range 1 to 2. So this is pretty neat if you fly your ship with the thread tracers along with a little swarm of TIE fighters or any other ship really that you can get. You can give them all a target lock for free as long as you can hit with this 1-point secondary weapon. Doesn't do any damage, but it gives you the potential to really unload a big alpha strike at a prime target. So very neat. All right, next up we have a new modification, brand new to Wave 8. Guidance chips. People are calling this guidance chimps, like chimpanzee for some reason, because I guess it's funny. I don't know. It's kind of funny. Nothing monkey-like about this, though. Guidance chips. 0-point modification. Once per round, when attacking with a torpedo or missile secondary weapon, you may change one die result to a hit result, or a critical hit result if your primary weapon is 3 or higher. Alright, so like I said, another upgrade card in the ongoing attempt to make ordnance, missiles, and torpedoes viable, desirable, and hitting the table much more often. So free modification. Now they've been working on making this stuff more playable for a while. This one's very cool. It says any die result, so that means that a blank, a focus, whatever. You can even use it if you roll all hits and you have an attack value of 3 or higher. You can turn one of those hits to a critical hit. Very cool. Nothing. There's no downside to this modification except that you can't use another modification. So it's very amazing. So yeah, if you're gonna run ordnance, you throw guidance chips on your ship now to make them more potent. Okay, finally we have the TIE Advanced Prototype only title, the TIE V1. Costs 1 point. After you acquire a target lock, you may perform a free evade action. So this is very cool. This is big. The TIE Advanced Prototype does not have the evade action on its bar. Kind of a bummer because most little TIE fighters do have access to evade and it helps them stay alive because they don't have a lot of health. Now you can get a target lock and a free evade action. Now also look at the wording on this. After you acquire a target lock. You don't have to use a target lock action to get the free evade action. You can be given a target lock by thread tracers, for example. Imagine that. Look at that synergy right there. You use your thread tracers, get a hit, get a target lock, get evade. None of that is your action, so you can have barrel rolled or boosted or focused or whatever else you want it to do during your turn. Very cool. I like this a lot. Nice synergy with Val and Rudor as well. When he defends, he gets his free action and he can target lock and evade if he wants to get that evade for the next time he gets attacked. It's good. It's a good title. 1 point. You probably want this anytime you put the TIE Advanced Prototype on the table. Okay, so that is the TIE Advanced Prototype expansion for X-Wing. I'm very happy with this. I had some doubts about it when it was first announced, and the first couple of previews for it, I kind of thought, no, it's another TIE Interceptor sort of glass cannon type of a ship. It's got a 2 attack value, so I don't know. I don't know if it's going to see a lot of play, but looking at it now, it really fits nicely into the builds where you have a few different type of powerful arc dodger TIEs, like a TIE Phantom, a TIE Interceptor, a TIE Advanced. This fits nicely in there. And then you can give it thread tracers and it can share a target lock with everybody on a round that they're all pointed in the right direction and have a big attack. So very nice, good solid Imperial expansion. I like that they keep finding TIEs to add to the Imperial fleet because they have so many of them. And yet each one sort of plays its own role, does its own thing, has its own identity. So yeah, very nice expansion. I like it. Maybe not the highest recommendation ever if you're just getting into the game and you want an arc dodger. I'd still maybe recommend a TIE Interceptor with Soontir Fel. Maybe before picking this up. I still think that the Interceptors are a lot of fun to fly, but this one, it's up there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to getting it into play. All right, everybody, as always, thank you for watching the Cardboard Dungeon, and we will see you next time.